Roudy Nassif is at the cutting edge of circadian health as a renowned engineer, wellness entrepreneur, martial artist, and light expert. He's been educating thousands of health practitioners and doctors about the quantum biological effects of light and helping them optimize their personal as well as their patients' well being. But it hasn't always been that way. There was a time when Rudy struggled with ADHD, depression, and chronic fatigue. His journey took an unexpected turn when he accidentally discovered the power of light and darkness on health. This revelation led him to create VivaRays, a company on a mission to help people flourish and experience vitality by living in alignment with nature's light and dark cycles. Rudy engineered the world's first circadian glasses to filter out the bad effects of artificial light coming from the screens and indoor light bulbs. What did Rudy discover by living without artificial lights? And how is his innovative circadian glasses helping people around the world reclaim their vibrancy and vitality? What Rudy will uncover today might surprise you and could forever change everything you thought you knew about your health. And before we start this episode, a quick word from our sponsor, Deep Wealth, and the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program. Here's Jane, a graduate who says, and I quote, "The Deep Wealth Mastery Program prevented me from making what would have been one of the biggest mistakes of my career. I almost signed on the dotted line with an unsolicited offer that I now realize would have shortchanged my hard work and my future had I accepted that offer. Deep Wealth Mastery has tilted the playing field to my advantage." Or how about Lynn? Wow, he gets right to the point, and I quote, "Deep Wealth Mastery is one of the best investments ever made because you'll get an ROI of 100 times that. Anyone who doesn't go through this will lose millions." And as you're listening to these testimonials, are you wondering if you have the time? Are you even thinking that you've got this covered? You have the advisors or people in your network? Well, I got to tell you, these myths, they're often behind the 90% failure rate for liquidity events. Think about it. You have one chance to get it right for your financial freedom. You really want to make it count. And when it comes to time, let's hear what William has to say. We just got in this testimonial. William says, and I quote, "I didn't have the time for Deep Wealth Mastery, but I made the time and I'm glad I did. What I learned goes far beyond any other executive program or coach I've experienced." So what do you think? As I hear that, that's exactly what gets me out of bed every day. That's my mission. That's the team's mission here at Deep Wealth, to literally change the social fabric of society, one business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. And my Deep Wealth Nation, what I want you to know, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it isn't theory. It's from the trenches. It's the only one based on a 9-figure deal. And that deal, that was my deal. You know my story. I said no to a 7-figure offer. I created a system that later on, myself and my business partners, we said yes to a different buyer, a different offer, a 9-figure deal. That's what we now call the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, or the Scale for Ultimate Sales system. It's built by business owners for business owners. So if you're interested in growing your profits, for preparing for a future liquidity event, and that may be 2 years away, it could be 22 years away, whatever the time may be, you want to do this now, and you want to optimize your post-exit life. Deep Wealth Mastery is for you. To get started, email success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, SUCCESS, at deepwealth.com. You'll receive all the information about the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, or better yet, why not hop on a complimentary strategy call? We'll go through exactly where your business is today and what's standing between you and your financial independence and your dreams. So that's where you want to be. You want to be with other successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders just like you. They're looking to grow their businesses, create market disruptions, and unlock their financial freedom to get what they deserve. And whether you've been in business for 3 years, 40 years, you're a startup, you're in manufacturing, you're in high tech, low tech, whatever the case may be, come on in and network with other business owners. It's a safe space. It's a confidential space with business owners, with businesses just like you, because they all want to lock in their financial freedom and enjoy both success and fulfillment. So again, the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it has your name on it. All you need to do is take the next step. Please send an email to success@deepwealth.com. Deep Wealth Nation, welcome to another episode of the Deep Wealth Podcast. And this is a very special episode. We have a terrific guest. How are you feeling when you woke up today? Did you have a spring in your step? Did you have mental fog, or were you struggling with putting some thoughts together, or are you walking on clouds, full of energy, can't wait to get to it? And sadly, for most entrepreneurs, it's, well, Jeffrey, I woke up with a few pains, I had some mental fog, maybe even a headache, I don't have a lot of energy. And wow, because here on the Deep Wealth Podcast, we help you extract both your business and personal deep wealth, because if we don't get it right on the personal side, we're going to be missing out on the business side. We're going to be talking all about that. But let me put a stop in right there. Rudy, welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. An absolute pleasure to have you with us. You have a fascinating story, and I'm just curious, what's the story behind your story? What got you from where you were to where you are today?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here. I want to bring you with me to a very special moment. It's 1 a.m., March 2017, and I'm laying down in bed next to my former partner in our dark basement in Canada, Toronto, scrolling through my phone. The blue light is shining on my face, and my eyes are literally burning and squinting, and I'm feeling drained mentally and physically. Yeah, I'm wired and I can't stop scrolling. Suddenly, a video popped up on my feed. I almost skipped the video, but then I clicked. Artificial light is killing us. And I was squeezing my brain, barely understanding what Dr. Jack Kruse is saying. But then I wake up the second morning and there's this one sentence that keeps echoing in my mind. You can't get healthy in the same light environment that made you sick. And I was like, wow. I instantly asked myself, this be the reason for everything I've been going through? The lack of energy, the constant fatigue, the depression? Could this be it? And from this moment on, I've been studying the light problem extensively. And I even founded a company to solve it. And often when I say the light problem, people think, oh, he's probably going to tell me about why the blue light from my phone is hurting my eyes, or why I should be avoiding screens 1 hour before bedtime. But the thing is that the light problem is a lot more nuanced than this. And today I'm confidently saying the quality of our life is entirely dependent on the quality of the light that enter our eyes. And before I dive into the nuances, I wanted to share a little bit about also where I'm coming from and what got me here. So as a kid, I grew up in Lebanon in the Middle East, and I was literally the definition of ADHD kid who can't focus, which is very common for entrepreneurs. And the classroom literally left me super drained, and it felt like a prison cell. And my only escape from that prison was becoming a troublemaker. So I did crazy thing. I'd strategically position bottles of ink on the edge of the teacher's desk, waiting in anticipation for the moment when the teacher will slam the desk and be splashed with the ink so he could kick me out of the classroom. And by the time I was 17 years old, I was literally asked to leave 7 different schools. My parents were really struggling to find me a school that will accept me. So in retrospect, it's funny because I always wanted to leave the classroom and be outside. And maybe it's because of the light. Now, as I got a little bit older, I became a night owl, and I would stay up very late, constantly feeling wired, low on energy, and unmotivated all day long. And somehow I managed to make it to engineering school. And despite looking like a very successful, fit, muscular engineer, which looked amazing on the outside, on the inside, I was literally drowning. I lost my job, I lost my health, and my sense of purpose. And no matter what I tried, martial arts, biomechanics, even climbing freezing mountains with the Iceman, Wim Hof, in shorts at minus 20 degrees, nothing seemed to last. And I literally tried every diet imaginable. I cut on sugar and processed food. That didn't do much. And then I became a vegan, and things became worse for me. So I turned into a keto and then carnivore, and then went on the ancestral diet. And I was taking all the best adaptogens and supplements for mitochondrial health, sleep, and brain function. But still, I felt the same. So at that point, I made a very difficult decision, but one of the greatest decisions I made in my life. I decided to leave my career as an engineer and travel to Canada on a tourist visa to start a new beginning. 3 months later, I'd already moved in with my former partner in our dark basement in Canada, that same place where I watched the video about artificial lights. Now, during that period of time, it was very difficult for me because I couldn't work because I'm on a tourist visa and I barely spoke any English back then. And I felt like extremely stuck in this dark and cold basement. And I'd be mopping around all day. And by the time the evening comes, I would want to numb my pain. And so I'd smoke cannabis and I'd be high and basking on an artificial light. I'd get all these amazing ideas of businesses I want to create, and I'll do like deep research on different topics. But the issue that I would wake up the second day and I had zero energy and motivation to act on anything that I have dreamt about the night before. So a few weeks after that night of watching that video, my former partner came to me with an unexpected surprise. She said, Rudy, pack your stuff. We're going to volunteer on an organic farm in northern Quebec. In this moment, my face turned pale yellow and lines of worry appeared on my face. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, volunteering on an organic farm, how is this going to help me? But then here we are driving for 7 hours from Ontario to Quebec. And the car is literally bouncing on this dirt road. And we arrived to this farm at night. There's no electricity, no artificial lights, only open, pristine skies. We set up our tents under the twinkling stars. And throughout my stay there for 6 weeks, the only source of light after the sunset was coming from the fire twinkling in front of us. So it was day one on May 2017. I woke up feeling exhausted. My body is so tired and heavy. I don't want to be outside. I don't want to see people. I don't want to talk to anybody. It's very hard. But then by day three, something miraculous happened. I wake up with no alarm clock. And for the first time in my life, I feel like a sustainable surge of energy in my body. My body feels alive, completely rested, and overflowing with joy. I literally couldn't help but smile. This is new. This is different. I'm looking at my partner, and as if I'm seeing her for the first time from fresh new eyes. Open the door of the tent. I step outside, and the world around me is literally glowing with the magical light of the dawn. And the birds are singing. It's absolutely mesmerizing. And I'm feeling a deep sense of connectedness to all things. It's a very interesting thing to describe. Some people describe that feeling of oneness with all things and where time collapses. And often people who would do mushrooms or any form of psychedelic describe a very similar feeling. But that was exactly what I was feeling on that day. And the most interesting part is that the night owl in me, who stayed up late until 2 a.m., is now falling asleep shortly after the sunset, naturally. And one morning while I was working there, Jeffrey, just like usual, crouched over the ground, weeding the crops. And then the farmer walks over to me and he places his hand on my shoulder and he says, wow, Rudy, what a powerful focus you got. I've never seen anything like it from all the volunteers that came here. And man, this moment literally cracks me open, chills traveling up and down my spine. And I go into this deep moment of silence and a realization that everything I thought to be wrong with me, my ADHD, my chronic fatigue, my depression, it wasn't about me. It was my light environment. I mean, isn't this fascinating? And the crazy part, Jeffrey, you wouldn't believe what happened after that moment. I returned to the city, to Toronto, and within a matter of a few weeks, it all comes crashing back at me. The fog, the exhaustion, the night owl tendencies. And in this moment, I refused to go back. So I decided to go deeper and I turned into a mad scientist, literally. But the only difference is that the farm became my laboratory. And for over 4 years, I kept traveling back between the city and the farm and living with indigenous people in a way that is in complete alignment with nature's light and dark cycles. And I was documenting every shift in my energy, in my sleep, in my mood. And I was obsessing over the topic, diving into the research and devouring every book I could find on the science of light. And during that period, I learned about blue light blocking glasses. I got super excited and I bought 3 clear blue light blocking glasses for my sister, my former partner, and I. We put them on all day long, naively thinking to ourselves that we just cracked the code for solving the light problem. But of course, nothing, no magic, no change. And we kept trying all these different brands, yellow lenses, orange lenses, red lenses. And to our disappointment, none of them really worked. And when I got a spectrocalorimeter to measure what the glasses were doing, it was extremely shocking because 99% of the brands that I tried, after I tested the lenses, I discovered that they did not do what they advertised to do. So at this point, I met an optical engineer from Florida who was really intrigued about my story and discovery, and he agreed to help me. So, by the way, at that point, I had zero intention to start a business, literally zero. And we went through countless trial and errors trying to perfect the right melanin pigmentation dye to be able to filter the right amount of artificial light at different times of the day. And that was the fun part. I was literally in my garage, gloves on, face mask, covering my face, hunched over, manually tinting lenses from morning till night. And after almost 9 months of failing over and over again, bam, success. We got the first pair of Circadian glasses that actually worked. And finally, I had a tool that could protect my hormones and my sleep when I'm in the city. And at this point, Jeff, I saw that all of my friends and family, they had a light problem. I decided to make 30 pairs and I handed them over and I shared with them what I now call the 7 steps to harnessing the power of light, which I'm happy to share on this podcast as well. And the fascinating part is that I was blown away with how quickly they began to heal and reverse their issues once they fixed their light problem. So my mom had been struggling with chronic insomnia for over 8 years. She started sleeping for 8 hours every single night. My sister, who had been struggling with chronic fatigue and acne, is now one of the most energetic entrepreneurs that I know, and her skin is glowing. My friends cleared their digestive issues without even changing their diet. So this wasn't a personal transformation anymore. It was transforming the life of others. And this is literally what led me to start VivaRays with my sister Joy. And after I did the first 30 pairs, as I mentioned, I had zero intention to start a business. And in fact, I was so resistant to the idea. And Joy had to really convince me. But now, 3 years in, I'm more convinced than ever before because I could see, Jeffrey, that all of us in this modern world, we have a light problem, a massive light problem. So I felt a deep sense of purpose and responsibility within myself to leave the farm and to ignite what I call the light revolution with one goal: to help 1 million person to live in rhythm with nature's light and dark cycles and see those humans live a vibrant and vivacious life.
Wow, Rudy, my goodness. Firstly, thank you for sharing your journey. You're very vulnerable. I'm hearing you starting out as really being not happy and not picking up some of the best habits, but taking that journey, taking that brilliant engineering mind of yours, looking into the issue, looking into the science, and coming up with a solution that made a difference for you, your mother, your family. And I love your vision. Hey, we want to help 1 million or more people. And Deep Health Nation, I'm going to share with you small rounding error relative to Rudy's goal of 1 million people, but he can count at least 3 people, myself and 2 of my family members. And I sharing with Rudy offline, before I ever spoke to Rudy, I purchased a pair of his blue blocking glasses and tried it for myself. And as Deep Health Nation, I'm into health and biohacker and will try anything and everything to get that edge on health. And I had blue blocking glasses already. I was a little bit skeptical, Rudy, to be very open with you. Purchased your glasses, tried it, and I immediately saw the difference. Not only do they look great and feel great, but I started to see it in my sleep metrics. And then was sharing this with my daughters who go the opposite direction, usually on the health side. Whenever I say, hey, go right, they go left, they don't listen. But my youngest daughter said, hey, you know what? I've been getting headaches every time I'm looking at my screen. Do you think this could help? And I said, well, yeah, they have a special daylight version. Why don't you try that? She tried that. Her older sister saw what was going on, try that. And now the headaches are gone. So on the personal side, it absolutely works. And Deep Health Nation, I paid for these, so Rudy wasn't giving me anything. This is a review for you that there's nothing in it for me because I did this on my own. But that said, Rudy, Let me ask you this. There's a lot of what's in there. Let's just go back to basics because I'm sure in Deep Wealth Nation, people are saying, well, Rudy, isn't light just light? Yeah, I heard about blue light and everything else, but come on, how big of a deal could it really be? I go to my doctor, I don't hear anything about light. I'm told to exercise, maybe eat the right foods, and everything should be okay. And you're saying, well, even if I'm eating the right foods, even if I'm exercising, that may still not be enough if I have the wrong light. Is light really that powerful? What did I miss here? What haven't I heard? Why aren't doctors screaming off the rooftops saying, hey, we are malnutritioned when it comes to light?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an amazing question because we've been so programmed to think of light as something superficial that makes vision possible. It's something that we take for granted. We turn on and off so that we can see the world around us. But the reality is that light is the language that is spoken by every living thing on earth, from the smallest bacteria to the largest mammals. It has shaped our evolution for millions of years, guiding the growth of the plant, the movement of the animals, and the rhythm of the seasons. And light is literally the language that nature speaks to us, shaping and molding every aspect of our biology. And today it's scientifically known that light controls our endocrine system. Every hormone and every neurotransmitter that is produced by our body is actually controlled by light. So light is not only something that allows us to see the world around us. Light is in for, and just like the information that we allow into our brains could either empower us or trap us in fear. Talk about the media and the news. Also, light is a double-edged sword. It can either elevate our lives or really dumb us down and make us sick. Now, I want to bring this to a very fundamental formula by the famous Albert Einstein, E equal mc square. And I want to show you how light is actually creating your own reality on a day-to-day basis. So this formula reveals one of the most profound truths about the universe. Light and matter are interchangeable. Essentially, light becomes matter. So think about photosynthesis and how light turns into sugar. Sugar turns into leaves. Leaves turn into branches and eventually a tree. Also, on the other side, matter turns back into light. Think about the wood that you burn in a cozy fireplace and how much energy and light and infrared heat it releases. Tremendous amount. Now, here's the fascinating part. We are light beings and our bodies are but light waves in motion. That solidity that we see in our body is a complete illusion because if you zoom in, all you could see is a wave in motion. And everything around us in this moment, including the earth itself, can be traced back to the energy of light. So this concept is more than a theory. It literally controls our reality and our well-being. And here's how. There's a substance in our eye called the vitreous EDI, composed of water, collagen, and acid. And when light enters our eyes, something phenomenal happens. Instead of traveling at the speed of light across the universe, it actually slows down as it passes through this substance. And the energy of light is actually transformed into the very neurotransmitters and hormones that control the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act. So light, Jeffrey, is literally from moment to moment impacting the quality of our thinking, the way we perceive ourselves and the world around us. It's also impacting our behavior and the quality of our decision in business is literally impacted by the quality of the light that is entering our eyes. So sunlight, for instance, when you wake up, go outside first thing in the morning, sunlight turns into cortisol. This literally helps you to feel alert, energized, and ready to face the day. As an entrepreneur, this is an absolutely key. If you're not getting morning sunlight first thing in the morning, you're really missing on a lot because it's literally dumbing down your ability to be alert and your ability to feel that readiness to tackle the day. Sunlight turns into dopamine. And dopamine is this miraculous molecule that allows us to zoom out and see the bigger picture in life. Allow us to sit up and pay attention and to have the motivation and the willpower to go after what we really want in life. Aren't those exactly what an entrepreneur needs? An entrepreneur without an ability to focus is spreading themselves thin and is not able to focus on the next step that will take their business forward. An entrepreneur with no motivation and without the ability to zoom out and see the bigger picture in life is literally stuck in the weeds of the business and is not able to see beyond their finger. Now, the crazy part, sunlight builds up our dopamine. Artificial light, Jeffrey, destroys our dopamine. There's studies that have been published by Dr. Samir Hitar showing that very little amount of blue and green light entering our eyes after the sunset, when we're not supposed to have artificial light entering our eyes evolutionary, it activates an area in the brain called the habenula, known as the disappointment center. And it has been shown to suppress the release of dopamine the following morning. So people are more likely to wake up feeling unsatisfied and lacking the motivation and the drive to go after what they really want in life. It's also correlated with lack of attention and with ADHD and with the pattern of continuously jumping from one thing to another and being unable to put energy and focus on the things that matter the most. And this is something that I know very well because I spent most of my life feeling lost, drained, and unmotivated. Now, why is that? There was nothing wrong with me. My light environment was completely junk and my dopamine levels were low. And like many of us today, I sought quick dopamine hits, whether it was from unhealthy sources of food or scrolling on social media or doing drugs or watching porn or whatever that may be. But the truth is that when we are disconnected from nature's rhythm and from nature's light, we end up relying on unsustainable sources of energy so that we can feel good. But those very unsustainable sources of energy end up destroying our life and end up moving us away from where we really want to go. Also, to add to this, sunlight builds up our serotonin, allowing us to feel happy and satisfied with who we really are in this very moment, not with who we are becoming. And that is the key to feeling gratitude. And gratitude is one of the most powerful resources that allow us to tap into the present moment and to attract to ourselves that which we actually desire in the future. Because if we are in the mindset of lack all the time, and if we're unable to see the blessings and the great things that are happening to us and through us in this moment, there's no way that we could move into a better moment because we are in a lag mindset and we're continuously complaining and unable to feel gratitude for who we are in this moment. And believe it or not, all of these and a lot more, we could spend hours breaking down different that profoundly impact our reality. But I'm just giving you a taste of how sunlight, it builds our dopamine and allow us to create better realities for ourselves. And on the opposite, how artificial light, which sadly, all of us in this modern world today, we're exposed to this junk light for 12 to 16 hours every day, is literally lowering our ability to create a greater reality for ourselves.
Wow, Rudy, so much there to talk about and unpack, but so incredibly important with what you're sharing. And so really my takeaway, and you can share, Jeffrey, you're on base or off base. If we look to nature, whether it be the sun, even the moon, the fire, the light that's coming off of that. You didn't quite say it this way. I'll put it in my own words. And again, Jeffrey, on base, off base, there's a full spectrum there. If you were to put that under a meter that measures the light, you'd see the full spectrum coming in, and at different points in the day, depending on where you are, it would change, but it's still a full spectrum versus, we'll call it the artificial light that all of us have in our homes, in our offices, when we're around town doing whatever we're doing. That light is artificial. It doesn't have the entire spectrum, and it's the wrong light. And again, I want to say, I hope I get this term. It's a German word, Zeitgeber, something along those lines, and it's time giver is a literal translation. And for the circadian rhythm of what you're talking to, when our Zeitgebers in our body, when it goes through the eyes, like you're talking about earlier. When we see certain kinds of lights, we can't perceive it per se, but the body understands it. It gives cues to the body. Okay, based on the light, it's morning, start waking up, or it's nighttime, let's start winding down. And if we're giving the body the wrong information and it's just junk light, we have junk food is junk light, we're confusing the body. We're putting it into disarray. It's going to take our health, not just physical health, I'm also hearing you say mental health, and it's going to destroy it over time. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but day over day, that constant exposure. And we're inside more than we're outside. We're literally destroying ourselves from the outside in. How am I doing with that so far?
Doing wonderful. I'm actually amazed at your ability to recap in a very beautiful and poetic and meaningful way. It's
Oh, thank
amazing
you.
the way you describe it. And you spoke about the Zeitgeber, and that's essentially the circadian rhythm, the circadian clock that is sitting in front of every clock in the body. And all of these clocks are connected to one central clock in the brain called the circadian clock. And I like to think of it as the conductor of a musical symphony. And just like the conductor reads the musical notes and cues all the musicians to create harmonious music, our circadian clock also reads the musical notes coming from sunlight and darkness. And they guide every cell, every organ on when to work and when to rest and repair. And this clock essentially controls when we go to sleep, when we wake up, also how well we sleep, and how rested and energized we feel when we wake up. It also controls the timing of when we produce the different hormones. And I tell people in conferences, in my speeches, when we produce the right hormone at the right time, we produce harmonious music that we call optimal health. However, when we secrete the wrong hormone at the wrong time, or when we fail secreting the right hormone at the right time, that's when the body starts producing dissonant music that we call pain and chronic disease. So essentially, this circadian clock is relying on two main cues in order to stay optimal. Number one is sunlight, first thing in the morning and periodically throughout the day. And number two is a consistent signal of darkness after the sunset. And I want to highlight the word consistent because it's this consistency that run our circadian clock. Meaning, if I'm someone who's now aware of the importance of using circadian glasses after the sunset, it's absolutely important to wear the circadian glasses exactly at the same time every day after the sunset. Now, the thing is that the way this happens in nature is that the absence of blue and green light trigger the release of a very powerful hormone called melatonin, which most people today are aware that melatonin is the hormone that helps them fall asleep. Sadly, some people are starting to take exogenous melatonin. But the danger in taking exogenous melatonin is that melatonin is connected to a photoreceptor in the eye called melanopsin. It's a blue light detector that tells our brain that whether there's blue light in the environment and then we need to wake up, or whether there's the absence of blue light and we could start resting and repairing. And the issue is that when people are taking exogenous melatonin and sitting in front of all the LED screens, blasting that blue light in their eyes, they're literally burning out those melanopsin receptor, and they're creating a mismatch between melatonin and those receptors. And that form of damage is really unreversible because you're literally conditioning your melanopsin to a new reality that is contradicting the thousands of years of connection between darkness and melatonin. And this hormone is the highest antioxidant in nature, literally. But not only this, activates a cellular cleaning crew. In science, we call them autophagy, apoptosis, and mitophagy. Now, the fascinating part, Jeffrey, is that every night when we sleep, 50 to 70 billion cells in our body die through a process called apoptosis. And the beautiful part is that in a healthy person, for every cell that die, a new healthier one is reborn. And this is exactly the program that we inherently have in our bodies that is designed to keep us vibrant and vital. Now, I want you to understand the significance of this cellular cleaning crew. So imagine, for instance, you're in an office, and if you don't clean out that office, you wouldn't notice at first. But then day after day, the trash in the office will start piling up, and your office will become extremely distracting. It will drive you crazy. It will become very toxic. You can't function. You can't run your business there. And it's essentially what happened on a cellular level when the body is not undergoing those cellular cleaning mechanisms. And we start seeing it in things like fatigue, brain fog, restless nights. And the fascinating part is that this program that is called mitophagy literally means that the body is supposed to replace 20% of its old mitochondria with new mitochondria, meaning that your body could replace all of its mitochondria and highly metabolic organs in just 20 days. Imagine that. So essentially in less than a month, could be completely refreshed and revitalized when you start reversing your light problem. And this literally explains the transformation that I personally had on the farm.
Okay, wow, my goodness. Again, so much that's there. And Rudy, I'd like you to share with me, Jeffrey, on base or off base. Deep Health Nation, imagine for a moment that instead of it being 2 p.m., I inverted it and I now woke you up out of bed and said, okay, I know it's really 2 a.m., but let's pretend it's 2 p.m. I want you to get dressed, go to the office, start working, start your day. How would you feel? And I'm sure after you kicked me out of the room and you were yelling and screaming at me, what are you doing? You're waking me up. Once you got your day going at 2 a.m., well, you would feel like, and you can fill in the blank.
Yeah, I would definitely feel terrible, and it's torturing. Now, why is it torturing? Because you're telling me it's morning time, but my body is telling me it's 2 a.m. And all of the internal terrain in my body is not prepared. My brain is not prepared for me to kickstart the day. And that's a great analogy because in today's world, most people are completely circadian disrupted, meaning that when the alarm clock rings at 6 a.m., the alarm clock is telling them it's 6 a.m., but their body is still thinking it's 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. And that's because they've been exposed to a lot of artificial light at night, essentially delayed shift their clock. Meaning, when it's 6 a.m. in the morning, in reality, their bodies are still thinking it's 2 a.m. And that completely disrupts the body's ability to perform. Because when you are not prepared, it's hard to do things in anything in life, even in your business. If you're not prepared for your next move, it's a lot harder to perform well. So the body runs on timing and on rhythm. And when we get the right time, and when we get the right timing and we get the rhythm, we tap into what I call the effortless state. And the effortless state is the ability to achieve more by doing less, and that which we achieve will take less time. Versus when we are trying to swim against the rhythm of life, everything takes more time, everything takes more energy, and the results are not as good as they could.
So with that said, when we confuse our body, and Deep Health Nation, imagine for a moment I took you and I put you into a room, there's no windows, you can't see out. And the only way you get a sense of what's going on is by the light that's coming into that room, but you don't know what time it is outside. It's just that light that's coming in. And now you have to make decisions. Okay, well, this light's coming in. So, well, it must be daylight. It must be during the day, but actually it's nighttime and you don't know. And so now we're making the wrong decisions. And Rudy, to what you're saying earlier, because we're doing the wrong things at the wrong time, from the wrong information that we're getting from this artificial light, well, instead of getting dopamine, which makes us happy, it makes us feel great, it's actually the opposite. We can feel depressed. And I know for myself, if I'm not feeling happy, I'm not going to make the best business decisions. My business is going to suffer. I'm not going to have that innovation. I'm not going to have that growth. There might be mental health issues that are coming up. So you set the stage for all that. Now, what you've also shared is we can begin to correct this because not everyone has a choice. I just perhaps can't go into the office and change all the lights or work outside, particularly if I'm living in a place like I am right now, East Coast. The weather in the wintertime, there's not going to be great sun early in the morning. There's not going to be a lot of sun at night. It gets dark often. I'm indoors. But through these glasses that you've created, we can begin to reverse that. And I want to go back to something very interesting that you said. You tried other companies' glasses. We're not going to name names here. I've tried other companies' glasses, and you found that they were wrong. Even though they had the title blue blocking glasses, they weren't blocking the blue light. So what's going on with that? Because as a consumer, I'm buying another brand's blue blocking glasses. Well, they say it blocks blue light, and they're showing me these tests that I can do, and I can see that this blue light is being blocked. What are they missing? What should I know?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of nuances there because many people claim that they block blue light, but the true question is, do I actually need to block blue light? Because you don't need to be blocking blue light all the time. And blue light is not evil, so many people think. In fact, blue light is something that is present in nature, and we need blue light because it helps us to get energized and it tells our brain that it's daytime. So it's about getting into a technology that will remove the unbalance that we're getting from the spectrum that we're exposed to from LED light. So, for instance, if you measure the frequency that is emitted from LED bulbs and screens, you'll notice that it has a very narrow spike in blue light at 455 nanometer. And this narrow spike is not balanced and proportionate with the other frequencies of colors. So if you compare this to sunlight, for instance, sunlight has full spectrum blue light that is always symbiotically balanced with other frequencies like yellow, orange, green, red, and infrared. Never ever throughout evolution, we've been exposed to a narrow spike of blue light in isolation from its polar opposites and from the other balancing frequencies. So the truth is that blue light is not bad because it's present in nature. It becomes bad when we are exposing ourselves to it at a time when it's not present in nature, and that's after the sunset. It also becomes bad when we are exposed to a source of LEDs that is emitting unbalanced blue light that is not coming with the other balancing frequencies. So to solve this issue, many people start buying blue light blocking glasses. So for instance, we have the clear blue light blocking glasses, which you could buy from optometrist offices. They're often very expensive. Some of them are on Amazon also, clear blue blockers, and they're cheap. But the common thing between the two is that both of them block blue-purple light up to 420 nanometer. But if you measure the light that is coming from LEDs, it actually starts at 430 nanometers and peaks at 455. And there's no emission below 420 nanometer. So to help you visualize it, it's like you're trying to strain your quinoa in a pasta strain. The quinoa will end up passing through the holes because you're using the wrong filter. And this is exactly why clear blue blockers are complete marketing gimmick and waste of money. Now, there's other brands that sell all these different other colors. So it's very famous today that you'll see many biohackers wearing yellow tinted glasses during the day, bragging about blocking blue light. But that is equally very dangerous. Now, why is that? Because if you measure what these yellow lenses are doing, they're filtering 100% of that inflammatory frequency coming from LEDs, which on one side, you'll think, well, it's good. I'm removing this inflammatory frequency. But in the process of removing this blue light at 455 nanometer, you're wiping out a lot of the blue turquoise also. And blue turquoise is the frequency that the photoreceptor melanopsin, which we mentioned before, is most sensitive to. Melanopsin in the eye needs that blue turquoise in order to tell your brain that it's daytime. And what happens is that when you block this frequency during the day, you're telling your brain that it's afternoon or it's close to nighttime. And that will start shutting down energy production in the body and will make you feel tired and low on energy at the wrong time of the day. So to solve this issue, Jeffrey, our daytime lenses don't block blue light. They're circadian harmonizers. So we're taking this inflammatory frequency at 455 nanometer, and we ask ourselves, how can we make it more balanced? How could we transform it in a way that resembles nature? And we knew that if we wanted to do that, we need to decrease its sharpness and we need to make it more symbiotic with other frequencies that are meant to come with this blue. And this is exactly what the daytime lenses do. They decrease the sharpness of this 455 nanometer frequency, and they make it more balanced and proportionate with the green, yellow, orange, and red lights. And therefore, that instantly eliminates the headaches, the eye strain, the agitation that people feel under these LED lights. And at the same time, people will maintain high energy level and optimal state of alertness and wakefulness throughout the day.
Fantastic. And Default Nation, what you need to know about this, Rudy, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, on base, off base, and I'm going to share a personal story with you, is you've done the science, you've done the research. You said, okay, there are different times of day where different glasses are needed. This is not a one glasses fits all. And in fact, I love what you said. Hey, blue light, it isn't the negative thing that you hear so much about. We need blue light. If we didn't have blue light, as an example, when we wake up, if we don't have blue light, that's going to be a problem. We're going to feel sleepy. We need that cue to tell the body, hey, let's get some things going here. We're going to get our day moving here. And I know you've come out with daytime glasses, and then you have sunset glasses and evening glasses. Default Nation, for myself, I'm early to bed, early to rise. So I got the darkest version of your glasses. So I have the evening glasses, and it sounds crazy. And my family, God bless them, they must love me because they see me show up with this. 6 p.m. at night, I'm putting on your glasses, Rudy. And I will go throughout my evening and family dinner, everything else with the glasses on, go to bed. And for myself, I found, and I've experimented, even when I wake up until 7 a.m., I'm still wearing those glasses. So when I wake up, I put the glasses back on because I know how my body works, and I don't want that artificial blue light too early in the day. I don't want to be waking up
Yes.
at 3 in the morning and I can't fall back asleep, which is what used to happen. So I have your evening glasses starting at 6 p.m., go to bed, I take them off, wake up, and then I take them off once again at 7 a.m. But for other people who are going to bed a little bit later, you have the sunset glasses. So sunset comes,
Yes.
you put on these glasses. I'm protecting myself. I'm getting the right light, even though I may be in an environment that has the junk light of what's there. I'm doing whatever I can to minimize that. Later on in the evening, I could put on the evening glasses, and off I go with that because you figured out what wavelengths should the glasses omit and emit. Let me put that into different lenses, and then I can have the community wear those lenses at the right time for whatever's going on in their lives. How am I doing with that so far?
You're doing wonderful. I'm actually amazed. Maybe we need to hire you, Jeffrey, so you could explain about our glasses better than some people on our team, actually.
Thank you for that. But the key takeaway, Default Nation, is Rudy, you've done the research, engineer background. You went into the science, you saw what was going on. You're not reading the headlines, and you cracked the code on, okay, what wavelengths do we need at which times? And now let's make glasses to make that happen. And I know you have attractive frames and the lenses, and it looks actually quite fashionable compared to some of the other glasses I was wearing. They really put me out there on the spectrum in terms of weirdo and other kinds of things. Yours, not really at all, because they're beautiful to look at and incredibly fashionable and wonderful tones and hues that you have in the lenses. So when we're doing this, Rudy, from what you're sharing with me, I'm now giving my body the right chance to get the right light information. Now, not as good, obviously, as having natural light and being outside more. I get that. We haven't even gone into how important it is to not eat at certain times and to absolutely eat at certain times. That's a whole other episode, I suppose, because it also
Yes.
gives our body and the circadian rhythm some information about that. But Rudy, again, Jeffrey, on base, off base, you're really honing in on circadian rhythm, which we don't hear enough of. I suspect we're going to start hearing that, but you're saying, hey, circadian rhythm is everything, and light is a very big part of that. Thoughts on that?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's the most powerful force that is programming our circadian rhythm, which is also impacting every aspect of our endocrine system. And when people are starting to hear all of this, some people may go into a panic mode. Oh, wow, am I trapped? What is the solution? And as I mentioned in the beginning, that when I started making some glasses and handing them over to friends and family, I not only handed over the glasses to them, but I also shared with them 7 steps to harnessing the power of light. So what do you think, Jeffrey? Should we share the 7 steps on your podcast?
I would love that. I'd be honored. Please.
Amazing. So through years of trial and error, and again, researching, experimenting, obsessing over the topic, living on farms, living with indigenous people who live in complete alignment with nature's light and dark cycle, I was constantly asking myself the question, is there a way to live in a modern world and to still thrive? And I can confidently say today that it's possible to thrive in a world of artificial light. But, and a big but, I don't like this word a lot, but now I'm going to emphasize it. It requires living with intention. And what do I mean by this? These 7 steps I'm going to share with you right now, they're completely free pretty much for the most part. All they require is your attention and your commitment to them. And my promise is that if you commit to those steps for at least 10 to 14 days, you will never ever need my voice to inspire you or to push you or to convince you to implement those 7 steps, because they will start speaking for themselves through the results that you will feel in your own life. And I have shared those 7 steps with thousands of people so far, like entrepreneurs, health and enthusiasts, and different health summits. And literally, I know anecdotally from many people reaching out, like hundreds and hundreds of people saying that everybody who implemented those steps have seen phenomenal results in every aspect of their life. So let's go. Step number 1, waking up first thing in the morning, going outside and getting that morning sunlight for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Now, if it's cloudy and you wake up and the sun is not there, the sun is there. It's behind the clouds. And all you need to do is to stay outside for a little bit longer, so 30 to 35 minutes. And if it's really overcast, 45 minutes is what you need to accumulate enough photons that will tell your circadian clock that the day has started. And at no cost, avoid wearing sunglasses, because sunglasses are one of the most dangerous things that actually got introduced into our society, because they completely filter out absolutely important frequencies of light. And again, now we're starting to think of light as information. So we don't want to be disrupting and decreasing the truth of that information that is arriving to our system. And the thing that you may be a busy entrepreneur and you may be like, oh, I don't have the time to do this. So I like to think of passive idea for implementing sunlight exposure. So making this part of your routine by choosing, for instance, to exercise outside, or choosing to walk your kids to school. And if the school of your kids is really far, then perhaps you could park your car 10 minutes away from the school and have a walk with your kids to school. And this way you and your kids are getting that morning sunlight. So there's many ways where you could combine what you already do in order to maximize those steps. For instance, if you have early morning meetings, you could choose to take your meetings outside while you're walking and you're getting that morning sunlight. If you really need to reply to emails, why don't you take your phone outside and reply to those emails? And if you're living in a country where it's really cold, what I want you to know is that nature is very purposeful. And in any country where there is a scarcity of sunlight, nature actually replaces sunlight with cold exposure. Because what sunlight does to you, which is it increases your dopamine, it increases your energy level by optimizing the electron transport chain in the mitochondria. Cold does exactly that. So by starting to invite yourself to go a little bit outside of your comfort zone and going outside even during those cold months, you're actually harnessing the power of cold and the sun at the same time, which is absolutely energizing. And during the time when I lived with the indigenous people up north, what I realized is that those farmers did not think about that, because they lived a purposeful life of working with the land, and that demanded of them to be outside even during the winter months, moving and doing things and conserving food and doing all these different activities. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be living like them, but what I'm saying is that we could learn a lot from their wisdom, and that even if we are living in a cold country, I want you to understand that cold is nature's way to replace the scarcity of sunlight. So use that to your advantage. Step number 2, and this is the step that goes missing in the health and wellness advice. A lot of people are starting to talk about the importance of morning sunlight, but very few people are talking about the importance of getting UVA light, which appears in your environment about an hour after sunrise, depending on your geographical location and the time of the season. Now, UVA is an absolutely phenomenal frequency because it activates a photoreceptor in the eye called neuropsin that convert different amino acids into the neurotransmitters that we spoke about, serotonin, dopamine, even melatonin, and helps us to make beta endorphin, which is a natural painkiller, literally. Like people who do a lot of exercising and sports and struggle sometimes with joint pain or muscle pain, beta endorphin is your thing. Being out in the sun and getting that UVA is absolutely important. Also, UV allow us to make alpha MCH, beta MCH, and gamma MCH, which not only help us build our tan and increase our libido and decrease our inflammation, but also the alpha MCH allow us to suppress our desire to eat food. So essentially, people who are depleted with alpha MCH due to lack of sunlight exposure, there's studies showing a link between that and obesity due to over reliance on eating food. Step number 3, every 2 to 3 hours, get into the habit and into the consciousness of taking a sun break, a natural light break. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing your focus session, hopefully you're doing that, and you're doing a deep focus session of 90 minutes or 2 hours, then get into the habit of taking a break after that, going outside and allowing the natural light to enter your eyes for at least 5 to 10 minutes. You could be doing your stretches. You could be doing some breathing that help you to shift into a more parasympathetic state and allow you to relax. Whatever that may be, you could do it outside. Step number 4, when you are inside and you're exposed to artificial lights, which, by the way, doesn't only come from your phone and your screens, it also comes from the bulbs that are surrounding you in your home, in the airports, in the malls, down the street. So the step number 4 is about wearing the circadian harmonizing glasses, which, as I explained, it doesn't block the blue light, it harmonizes it. Step number 5, watching the sunset directly or indirectly. And again, light is in for. So when we are outside during that time, the brain is receiving the information it needs so that the nervous system knows it's time to wind down. And the endocrine system knows that it's time to start preparing for the hormones that will allow us to repair and access a deep, restful night's sleep. Step number 6, after you come back from that journey, you come back to your home. I'm a big fan of turning off overhead lights and using Himalayan salt lamps or any crystal lamps like this, which you could put incandescent light bulbs in them and distribute them all across your house. And the invitation there is to be proactive and to prepare your environment, because by the time it's 7 p.m. and if you don't have any of those lights there and prepared and ready, then you're most likely going to fall back into your old habit of turning your overhead lights. Step number 7, wearing your VivaRays evening lenses right after the sunset, which is designed to mimic the exact color temperature of the bonfire, helping you to wind down and relax, yet still have enough energy to do your evening activities, especially when the sun sets really early, like in Canada at 4 p.m. And then 1 hour to an hour and a half before bedtime, switching to the dark red lenses, which filter out all of the blue, all of the green, decrease the brightness by 10 times. And they're really, you could think of them as the end of the bonfire when the wood turns into amber coil. And by that time, you're feeling super cozy, relaxed, and ready for bed. And this is literally going to allow you to maximize melatonin production, growth hormone, access a deep, restful night's sleep, and most importantly, waking up feeling rested, energized, and ready to tackle the day.
My goodness, 7 steps, not to confuse simple with simplicity. This took you really years. It's a whole journey for you to figure this out. But let me recap this for you, Deep Wealth Nation. The 7 steps. Step number 1, when you wake up, depending on the weather, 10 minutes to 45 minutes outside. Rudy, you gave us suggestions. Exercise outside. Have your meetings outside. Do your emails outside. And if you live in a cold climate at different times of the year, cold exposure will do the same thing as sunlight in terms of our dopamine, our mitochondria. Step number 2, about an hour after the sunrise, again, go outside, get that UVA going, have it come into your eyes, send the circadian rhythm some clues of what's going on. Step number 3, every 2 to 3 hours, take a natural sun break outside, which we should be doing anyways, moving around, taking a breath of fresh air, giving ourselves a break, particularly away from the screens. Step number 4, wearing the VivaRays harmonizing glasses. Step number 5, watching the sunset, either directly or indirectly. Again, that time cue to our body. Okay, the day is winding down. It's time for me to start winding down. The sun is setting. And I know from the sunset, it changes. The sun is changing all the time in terms of the wavelengths that it gives off. And the sunset has very special wavelengths that we don't have at any other time during the day. And then step number 6, I love this one. turn off your overhead lights. Or if you can't completely turn them off, at least dim them down to half, if not more. And then I loved your suggestion for step 6. Put on the floor something like a Himalayan light, but don't use the LED lights. Put in the good old fashioned incandescent lights with the filament and the light bulb. You can still find those out there. They're not expensive. Have that low lying to really go back to the days where it'd be like looking at a fire all the time. It's very low to the ground and it's giving off the right kind of light. And if it's a Himalayan salt light or other kinds of lights like that, the right kind of light signals going into us. And then step number 7, again, with the VivaRay glasses, the sunset glasses, the evening glasses, right before bed, the glasses, 60 to 90 minutes before bed, you're wearing the sunset, then the evening glasses to really give the light cues to our body. And one thing that you said, Rudy, that is so essential, it's consistency. So as an example, if I wanted to gain some muscle, if I went to the gym once and never went again, well, nothing's going to happen. If I go to the gym and I go for 5 days or 7 days or even 2 weeks, probably nothing's going to happen. It's not until I go regularly, consistently, maybe after a month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm going to start seeing some results. Same thing here. It can't be, well, I do it today, not tomorrow. I'll do it another few days from now. This has to be every single day. Create a ritual, create a healthy habit. And when we do that every single day, then our body gets used to this. It understands this isn't transitory because our body's very special. Imagine if we adjusted to something that happened to us well, it happened here, but it's not going to happen again, but our body's adjusting. It needs to see that consistency. Okay, this isn't going away. I better adapt to this. It's safe. It's okay. This is happening every day. That when we do that consistently, we start to see the results. Thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Beautiful summary. And I'm actually impressed by how fast you were able to learn the steps. That's amazing.
Thank you. And so that's on the health side. And again, Deep Health Nation, we spoke about why when we do this, we lose the mental fog. Probably, and again, we're not doctors, see your doctor, get professional medical advice. We're not giving medical advice, just on our own experiences. Rudy, you're sharing experiences of friends or family when they started to do this, they lost the brain fog. They had more energy. They lost weight. They felt better. If they had some mental health issues, those just vanished. They were in a great place. They were happy, energetic, productive. And so on the health side, you're making an incredible difference out there. I know this interview has been going on for a little while now, but very quickly, let me ask you, business-wise, what's it been like for you as an entrepreneur? This is a big industry. You're up against very large competitors, deep pockets, big bank accounts, established commercials on TV and doctors and this and that. And here you are, you're saying the exact opposite. They don't necessarily want to hear that. So what's that been like for you in terms of VivaRays, getting the message out there, competing with some of these larger entities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So business-wise, to be honest, I also look at VivaRays as an extension of my soul. So oftentimes businesses or products are seen as like the main thing, but any product is really an extension of a desire of the soul to bring something to the world. And the way VivaRays was born, as I mentioned in the beginning, I wasn't like looking around on Google and seeing what's trending and realized, oh, blue blockers are trending. Let me get into that business. It came from a yearning desire of my soul to extend balance and to bring rhythm into this world and to bring more alignment and synchronization with nature for us and for the future generation. So the evolution of VivaRays has been also like a spiritual evolution for me. And the way I choose every day to show up in this business has been teaching me a lot about myself. And I think one of the most important things this business teaches me on a day-to-day basis is it inspires me to continue to give more. And one of the things that I tell my team and I discuss with them is that oftentimes we as humans, we think we have different purposes and we go on long journeys to discover what that purpose is. But based on my observation and my own experience, I think the one purpose that we all have is to give fully from ourselves in whichever form. And that form may change from time to time. But the core of that form is that ability to really go in and to give all of ourselves in service for others. And I'm grateful for VivaRays because it has allowed me to continue to expand my ability to give from myself. And to be honest, Jeffrey, I haven't gone like the conventional way of starting a business whatsoever. And I tend to take decisions following my own impulses and my own intuition. I do meditate a lot. And most of the big decisions in my business and even launching certain products came through moment of deep silence. And it's almost like a flash of light, an illumination of and a deep inner knowing that tells me I need to do this. And oftentimes when those come, we'd be speaking to a consultant that will tell me this makes no sense. What's the proof that you could actually be successful in this? And I say, I have no proof, but I like there's an inner knowing inside that knows. And so the journey of VivaRays has been also like a beautiful way of balancing those two aspects of ourselves, because I think all of us as humans, we live in two universes at the same time. The universe of motion and of matter and of the physical senses, which wants to rely on the senses, on data, on that which we can measure. But we equally live in a spiritual universe that is invisible to our senses. And I call it the universe of knowing. And the journey of life is really to navigate in between those two universes gracefully and to find that 0 point where those two universes melt and become one. So one of the things that I enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis in VivaRays is to find myself and to find self-expression, and also to invite my team members to express themselves and to make mistakes, because that is part of the journey. And the one thing that ground all of this game is that unwavering desire to extend balance into the world and to elevate humanity's light environment to a whole new level of alignment with nature. So I think having that unwavering desire, a true desire of the soul to give something to this world, is absolutely necessary. And I could not see how my business could survive all of the tragedies, all of the difficulties, all of the competition without that deep grounding soul desire to give something from itself.
Absolutely love what I'm hearing there, Rudy, because so many entrepreneurs, I feel we've been sold a false bill of goods. Well, just copy this company over there. Just do what they're doing and see if you can do it better, and off you go. You're saying the exact opposite. Jeffrey, this is my heart, my soul. This is my passion. I want to make a difference out there. I'm going to do it my way, not the conventional way, not the standard way. And that may go against what some people think I should do or how I should do it, but I'm going to do it the way that I want to do it. And that's just how it is. Absolutely love that, Rudy. I have to tell you, I've been on both sides of that journey where I was a copycat of my competition. And at one point, finally learned my lesson. And I said, hey, I'm just going to run the company the way I want to run the company. I'm going to be unique and different in my own way. And once I did that, I never looked back. The results spoke for themselves because I was now in my own lane, not someone else's lane. And I was going through my own unique God-given gifts to really make a difference out there and take that out to the marketplace. So absolutely love with what you're saying out there. And let me ask you this, because again, you're an entrepreneur. You're in the health side of being an entrepreneur. You've seen the difference of how the right kind of light and the right kind of light exposure, the right kind of light protection, how all that can make a difference. What would be something, before we go into wrap-up mode, what would be some advice that you'd give to the Deep Wealth Nation if there's one thing that they can do today when they finish listening to this episode, before they go to their next phone call or their next meeting, before we wrap things up here? What would be one piece of advice that you would give them?
I think like the main sentence that is coming into my consciousness is, it's a poet called Edward Markham, I believe. And he says, in vain we build the city if we don't build the human first. And this sentence touches me so deeply. The reason why it touches me so deeply is because I think we live in a world where we are conditioned and programmed to rely on our senses and focus on the outside and memorize and repeat and do what others are doing. And oftentimes we give a lot more importance to the product than the soul that is actually extending that product. And I think one of the greatest dangers of humanity is that we forget anything that we create is an extension of us. And when we allow ourselves to grow, and when we give importance to human relations, and when we put humans first, everything else flourishes. But if we go the other way around, then we would be at risk of, people talk about like how we could be at risk of AI becoming so damaging. And I always say that AI can't be damaging. AI is an extension of who we really are.
Mhm.
And if it was to become damaging, it's because we ourselves are becoming damaging and we ourselves are not attending to ourselves. So I think the one advice is to always remember that in vain we build anything if we don't first build ourselves. And in vain we build companies if we don't build the humans in those companies. And in vain we build products if we don't focus on serving the customers who that product is for.
Wow, there is a lot there, Rudy. I really like that. And really, what I'm hearing you say, and again, Jeffrey, you're on base, off base, take care of ourselves first. Be selfish, look after yourself. And in turn, once you do that, you can show up optimize the human that we all are to help those around us and really make a difference, as opposed to the other way around. We get the wrong social messaging. Well, look after everyone first. And if you have time, look after yourself. That's the right thing to do. Actually, it's the wrong thing to do, both for yourself, but also for those around you. Absolutely love that. And Rudy, actually, that advice, it's perfect segue as we go into wrap up mode. Here on the Deep Wealth Podcast, it's a tradition. It's my privilege. It's my honor. I have to ask every guest the same question. So here's the question. It's a really fun one. When you think of the movie Back to the Future, you have the magical DeLorean car that will take you to any point in time. So, Rudy, it's tomorrow morning. You look outside your window, and this is the fun part. Not only is the DeLorean car outside curbside, the door is open, is waiting for you to hop on in, which you do. You're now going to go to any point in your life. Rudy, as a young child, a teenager, whatever point in time it would be. Rudy, what would you tell your younger self in terms of life lessons, life wisdom? Hey, Rudy, do this, but don't do that. What would that sound like?
Wow, that's a deep question. Yeah, what's coming is I would definitely tell myself, my younger self, to never act out of desperation. And even if that meant doing nothing, pausing, even if that meant being judged by others as being useless or lazy or whatever that may be, continue to wait to truly connect with that inner light of inspiration. And always, no matter what is happening in the world, always continue to choose to act from that place.
Wow, Rudy, that is deep. That is really deep. Never act out of desperation, even if it means you're doing nothing. People are judging you because you're doing nothing, to only act when you have that inner inspiration. And I have to tell you, as you're talking about this, I'm just thinking, I'm going back on my own journey. And you're absolutely right. When I acted because it was, and I'm using air quotes here, the right thing to do, or that's what other people expected me to do, but I didn't want to do it, the results showed. And it's only when I was truly inspired, even though it went against the grain, even though it was on my own timing, that's when things worked out. And not everything always crosses the finish line. It's not always successful, but the journey got me to a better place. Even if it didn't work out there, I learned lessons that it took me to a better place. So I really love that. Never act out of desperation. Wait for that inner inspiration, act upon that. Absolutely love that. And Rudy, my goodness, there's so much going on here. For someone in the Deep Wealth Nation, they have a question. They want to learn more, maybe even pick up a pair of the glasses, but they want to reach out, get some information, have a conversation. Where would be the best place online to reach out?
Yeah, so our website is vivarays.com, VIVARAYS.com. Also, we share a lot of our educational material on Instagram at VivaRays. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out every Thursday, where I pick a topic related to life and light and how light is impacting that aspect, whether it's health or business, and I have a deep dive on. So those are very popular. Our community loves them. So if you want to connect on that, if you want to learn more about light, make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter. Also, Jeffrey, I've written a short e-booklet, and essentially I dive a little bit deeper about the 7 steps. And I share with people some other resources, like how to use different technologies to filter out the junk light from your iPhone, from your Android, from your computer screens. I also have an amazing resource of a Circadian app that was created by a friend. Her name is Sarah Kleiner. It's called the Circadian Lifestyle. And I guide people on how to use this app. It's a phenomenal app, especially for someone who's starting. I like to refer to it as a circadian coach in your pocket that tells you exactly when those important windows of time are happening in your environment and reminding you to go outside, reminding you to put the glasses on, etc., which is very helpful for a busy entrepreneur who is just starting something new, which is not top of mind. I will make sure to share the resource with you, Jeffrey, so anybody could access it for free. And if you have any questions, any inquiries, you could reach out to us at support@vivarays.com. Also, we didn't mention this, but we do offer all of our classes in prescription and non-prescription. And for prescription users, we came up with an amazing solution called the UV transmitting lenses. And this is because all prescription users, unfortunately, have prescription glasses that block 100% of UVA and UVB, which by now you understand that it's absolutely terrible for your hormones. So we came up with a prescription technology. It's called the 4-in-1 UV transmitting lenses, where your base frame allow 50 to 60% more UVA and UVB. And you'll have 3 different clips for daytime, evening, and nighttime to navigate the artificial light exposure at different times of the day. So the base frame you'll be wearing outside when you are in the sun. If you're doing any activity that requires eyesight, you don't need to think about it. You're still getting that sunlight subconsciously into your eyes. And when you are exposed to artificial lights, depending on the time of the day, you could use the daytime, evening, or the nighttime clip.
And Deep Wealth Nation, I have to share with you the ebook, all this information, reaching out, going to the website, having some questions. It's all in the show notes. It's a point and click. And by the way, check out the website. You'll see how you can get a specific pair of glasses or a 3-in-1. It doesn't get any easier. Rudy has already done all the scientific research with his engineering background. He's made it super easy to welcome better health. And as I was sharing earlier with you, Rudy, from myself to my family members, we've seen a difference right away when we began to use it very early on, and we continue to use it. I don't go anywhere without them. It's absolutely amazing. And on that note, Rudy, a heartfelt thank you. Firstly, congratulations. It's official. This is a wrap. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Pleasure.
So there you have it, Deep Wealth Nation. What did you think? So with all that said, and as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribe, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode. The Deep Wealth Podcast, it's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.